Hey everybody, 4Gun Guy here. This video is one in a series about 3-gun that I'm going to do, and this one is focused on the pistol. I wanted to take you through my journey of going from a pistol that I had for home defense that I started using for 3-gun all the way up through and to the pistol that I use today, the Tanfoglio. We'll look at the different costs for these different pistols, and we'll look at some considerations as far as the accessories that you'll need to make these pistols 3-gun ready. Let's get started. Well, let's talk about the journey here. I actually started off with a Springfield XD 40 because I had already purchased it for home defense. So, and by the way, all these pistols have chamber flags in them, and there are no magazines whatsoever in the guns, no ammo about, so we're all good there. So I bought the XD 40 for home defense, and then I got into 3-gun, and I thought, well, heck, I can just use this for 3-gun. So all I did was I bought 2 extra magazines. I think it came with 2. I bought 2 extra magazines, some magazine extensions, and then a holster. So that was good. I shot this gun for about 6 months in matches. And then I realized that a 40 was just too powerful for 3-gun. You just don't need it. And the kick of the gun was a little much, and it just wasn't allowing me to stay on the target. So that's when I went to, I really didn't do research to go to the next gun. I liked Springfield Armory, so I went ahead and got the Springfield XD9. Now again, this came, I think, with 2 magazines, so all I needed to do was buy 2 extra mags, 4 mag extensions. And the mag extensions are, they're like this, right? They allow you to add more rounds to the magazine. And then I did have to get another holster for that. So, that was the next gun. And then I shot that gun for about 1.5 years, I think. And I started to really do some research because I was really getting more serious into 3-gun. And I thought, well, I want to get more of a 3-gun pistol. So I did some research, and we're going to look at that research in a minute. I'm going to pause here and show you what I mean when I say I did my research. And that's when I ended up with the Canik. Now this is spelled C-A-N-I-K, but believe me, it's a Turkish company. It's pronounced Canik. This has been a fantastic pistol for me. I shot this one for about 2 years, and it's a phenomenal pistol. All 3 of these are striker-fired pistols, which basically means they don't have a hammer. There's no hammer that falls on the firing pin to fire the pistol, and you can read more about that on your own. But this Canik has been a great pistol. Upgrades to this came with 3 magazines, so I only had to buy 1 extra. And then I, of course, bought the magazine extensions and then a new holster for this because the holsters don't fit. Well, then I was at a match, and a buddy of mine had an STI pistol, which is really one of the top-of-the-line competition 3-gun pistols. And I asked him if I could shoot it. He let me shoot it, and I really loved the pistol. Let me pause here and say, if you go to a match, ask people if you can shoot their pistols, right? They will let you. Make sure you get permission from the RSO first, the range safety officer, and the match director if you need it, and then go into one of the bays under supervision, fire their pistol, and see if you like it. That really gives you a way to try a lot of different pistols. You might try a few pistols over a number of matches, and then you'll find out what really feels good in your hand, what you like, what you don't like. Go to the gun store. Handle the pistols. Make sure of some little things here, folks. Make sure that when you hit that mag release button, that your thumb actually hits the mag release button and you're not stretching for it, right? It's little stuff like that when you buy a new pistol, especially for competition, and you get out there and it's hard for you to release that magazine, that can cause you problems. So anyway, back to the story, my buddy had an STI, I shot it, I loved it, but I didn't want or have the $5,000 to spend on an STI pistol. So I again came back and did my research, which we'll share here in a minute. And in my research, I chose the Tanfoglio. Now, this is the Tanfoglio Witness Elite Limited, and it's stainless steel frame. This is what they call a CZ frame because it's really based off of a CZ pistol. The STI is more of a, quote, 2011 frame. But anyway, this gun weighs about twice as much as the Janik. I absolutely love this pistol. This is the last pistol I'll ever need for a 3-gun, as long as I shoot 3-gun. It's a wonderful pistol, easy to load, easy to manage, easy to fire. And I do a review on both the Janik and the Tanfoglio. So I'll put those links up here above me, so you can look at those if you'd like to. But great pistol. Now I ordered this one from a gentleman named Joe Wilson with Patriot Defense, and Joe had a package. And again, I'm not pushing Joe or Patriot Defense. I'm just saying that when you get to this level or an STI, you might want to go through someone like a Joe Wilson who can take the gun, polish it up, and when I say polish, I mean the internals, so it's almost like you've shot 400 or 500 rounds through it. All the rough edges from manufacturing are off. It's smooth. He really makes sure that the slide is smooth, the recoil is smooth, the trigger is smooth, everything is crisp and smooth. And then when you get the pistol, you're ready to go, because that's where I am in all my guns. I want to take the gun out of the case, I want to go to the range or the match, and I want to shoot it. I don't want to have to fidget with it any longer. I did that with this gun. It was okay, it was fun, but it gets old. So anyway, that's the journey that I've been through to get to my now favorite 3-gun pistol. Let's talk a little bit about the costs involved, right? Because as you see here, I've got 4 pistols. Well, as you just heard me say, with each one of these pistols, what did I have to do? I had to buy 1 or 2. In this case, I had to buy 3 extra magazines because it only came with 1. I had to buy the magazine extensions for those magazines. These are the mags for my Tanfoglio. And a holster for each one of these, by the way. So when you get into that cost, like this holster right here, I had that made for this pistol, and it was about, I want to say $75 or $90. So it's all those costs, right? If you're going to put a mag well on a pistol and it doesn't come with one, there's a cost. If you're going to mount a red dot like I did with the Tanfoglio, and I have on the on the Janik, and I have on the Tanfoglio, those bases cost money. Do your research, see what the costs are, and go from there. If you looked at the cost of these pistols, and this is one reason I wanted to do this video, is I'm not going to tell you, I'm going to take this 40 out of here because it just doesn't belong. I'm not going to tell you which pistol to buy. I'm not going to tell you what brand to buy. That's the research you need to do and determine what's right for you. As I said, go to the range, go to a match, handle those pistols. If you go to a range, you can rent pistols. You can rent pistols very similar to these. They may not be these exact pistols, but you'll get an idea of how a Glock feels in your hand. You'll get an idea of how a Springfield Armory 9mm feels in your hand, and they'll most likely have some 2011 style pistols like this one, or CZs. Go rent a CZ. I know the range that I go to has them. Rent pistols and see how they feel for you. Then that can help you make your decision. So there's one big piece of advice. Now let's talk about the cost and the price, right? So it depends on where you are with the money you have, with where you think you're going to go in 3-gun. If you've never shot 3-gun before and you just want to start basic, and you already have a 9mm like the Springfield Armory 9 or a Glock or whatever you have, then you're in like Flint. You're doing pretty good, because all you need to do is buy a couple magazines, a few mag extensions, and a holster with good retention. Please make sure you get a good 3-gun ready holster. That's important. Don't just go buy something or rely on a holster that may come with one of these pistols. They probably won't work. This gun right here would get you in the door. I looked up the pricing the other day. I think these are going for $475. So by the time you get the magazines in there and 4 magazine extensions, you're probably going to be up around $600 to get in with this basic Springfield Armory or a pistol like it. If you slap a magwell on here, you're going to be a little more. Magwell's probably going to be $60. And if you're beginning 3-gun, is that really making that big of a difference for you? Do not spend your money on it, right? Get used to the gun. Get used to shooting 3-gun. It's more important that you understand what a stage looks like and how you're going to shoot that stage. And when you get done shooting that stage, that you sit down with yourself and say, man, I shot that exactly the way I planned on shooting it, and it went well. It wasn't fast. I missed a couple targets, but my plan was well, and I'm happy with that, right? That's where you want to start with 3-gun, right? Don't worry about the equipment so much when you start. If you want to not start here and go to something like this, or the pistols I'm going to show you in my comparison. I'm going to show you how I selected these two here in a minute with a spreadsheet and everything. I looked at things like the Sig Sauer. Springfield Armory does have their own 3-gun version of a pistol. I looked at the Glock 34, and then I looked at the Smith & Wesson, I think it's the MP Core, M&P Core, compared to this. And with all of those, you're going to end up around $1,000, right? With those pistols. This one happened to come in, I think, around $650, $660. This is a really good deal, folks. This Janik is a great deal for a 3-gun, quote, ready pistol. It really is. So anyway, so there you are. You're at this level. You're in that $700 to $1,000 range, let's say, right? Now, when you get to this level, which is the Tanfoglio, you're upwards of, you're in between $1,500 and $2,400 when you get to these pistols, with everything you're going to need to have it 3-gun ready, right? And you'll see in my review that this wasn't the cheapest pistol, but it was under my budget of $2,000. But the other pistols that were in there were, I think, $1,500, $1,700, $2,300. I was looking at the Sig Sauer, the CZ Shadow 2, and the CZ, what was it? The Tactical Sport, I think it was, the orange, which are great pistols. But I chose the Tanfoglio, and man, I'm just happy with this pistol. So, with that said, let's go ahead and pause. I'll go back to the computer. Let me talk to you about how I reviewed these two pistols and came to the conclusion. Again, I want to tell you, I have full reviews on both of these, and I'll put those links in here somewhere, either at the end, or if you see information right now, you could go to them. But let's go to that, and then when we come back, we'll have some final thoughts. Sound good? Well, as you can see, this is how I do my comparisons. So I bring in some different pistols that I think I've already done some research on and I think are going to be candidates for what I'm going to use or what I want to use. And then I start with general specifications. So you can see here the price, caliber, weight, all that stuff. I'm not going to go into it because I do this in my video for the Janik and the Tanfoglio. But I start with general specs. Then we go to things like the normal upgrades for those pistols. Do they accept an optics mount? Do they come with a mag well? Those types of things. Then we go on to other attributes. So I look at things like, do they have a threaded barrel, just in case you want to put something on it? Do they have an accessory rail? Do they come with a holster? And even if they do, please don't look at that because it won't matter. That's not a holster you're gonna be able to use for 3-gun. And then aftermarket and OEM replacement parts. This was another thing that was kind of important to me when I was comparing these different pistols. Finally, I came up with the overall cost. So what I did was I said, here's the base price, here's the cost of all the upgrades, such as I've been talking about, 4 mags and probably a mag well, stuff like that. And this is how I arrived at the cost for my different, my first 3-gun options, and that's why I chose the Janik. Let's move on to the Tanfoglio. Now I'm going to move through the Tanfoglio a little faster. You can see that it wasn't the cheapest from a base price standpoint, but as I started to do my research, read the reviews, look at it compared to these other pistols, I just found that this was the pistol that I really liked. Now, I only compared it to these two. There were others in the comparison, but the SIG and the CZ were the only two that made my final cut, so to speak. And so you can see that in the end here, it was not the cheapest of all the pistols, but it was the one that I decided was the right pistol for me, for my budget, and that's what you need to do. Well, I hope you liked my comparison. I kind of get carried away with things, but I just always like to know that I've done my research and I'm happy with the purchase that I make. And with these 2 guns, doing all that research really did. I was very satisfied with both of these guns when I bought them. So let's go through some final thoughts here. I'm just going to recap some things. Number one, set your budget. That's the most important part. You're going to go over a little bit. You always are. That's just the way it is. And then you have to think to yourself, do I want to buy something like this XD9 now? And if I really like 3-gun, am I prepared to move up right to something like this? Or will I go through the progression like the 4-gun guy went through, right? And this is over, 5 years, 6 years? So, think about that. Borrow a gun during a match. Remember I said that. Don't be afraid to ask people. These guys are great guys. They will let you shoot their pistols during a match. Rent the gun at the range. We talked about that. They have guns to rent. They will be able to do it. And again, as I said, if you already have something like this, shoot it, get into 3-gun, see if you enjoy it. Then you're not out a lot of money, and you have an extra mag or 2 that you may want anyway for practice. And it's always good to have a holster. And finally, decide what you want out of 3-gun, right? Are you just wanting to have fun? So 6 months into it, sit down. That's what I did. I sat down and I went, okay, what do I want to do here? Do I really enjoy this? And do I want to go further with it? Or am I happy, right? Is it like golf? If any of you play golf, am I ready to get that, really expensive set of clubs because I think it's really going to make my game that much better? Or am I happy with the clubs that I've been playing with and I just want to enjoy the game? 3-gun is exactly like that. Do I just want to enjoy it or do I want to really excel at it? And if I want to excel at it, have I done everything I can do personally and at the match? Remember what I said with looking at the stage, reviewing the stage. In fact, I'm going to put a link right up here somewhere that's going to show you one of the videos I've made about how I look at a stage in 3-gun and then how I shoot the stage. And I critique myself. So I'm going to tell you some things I did wrong as I do them wrong. I'll pause the video and say, man, I screwed this up. I did that wrong. I shouldn't have shot it like that. That can help you a little bit. But anyway, just decide what you want to do, right? No matter what you do, 3-gun is a blast. It's just a blast. Don't let all the fancy schmancy guns you see there get in the way, get in your mind. just don't let that happen. Just treat it like any other sport. Play the sport with the equipment you have, with the equipment you can afford, and enjoy yourself and have fun. That's what you're there for, right? You're not there to impress anybody. You're just there to have fun. So, I hope this was helpful. As I think I said before, this is one in a multi-part series on 3-gun. I've got one on the rifle. I've got one on my shotgun, and then I have an overall 3-gun that's going to really tear things down, break things down into like this belt, right? We're going to look at this belt and talk about everything that needs to go on there and all the accessories you're going to need for 3-gun. So hey, thanks again for watching, everybody. I really appreciate your time. I appreciate your likes, and I love it when you subscribe, so I really appreciate that too. And please remember, if you have any comments, put them in the comments. I answer every comment on every one of my videos, so I'm happy to do it. Until next time, shoot straight.